everybody, welcome. Today we're going to talk about the fluids in the engine compartment here, how to check them and where they're at. First, this. Here are the typical colors that you'll find of fluids that you'll be checking underneath the hood. Engine oil should be a goldenish color. Automatic transmission fluid will be red to pinkish red. Coolant can be green, can be orange. Some Toyotas will use a red to pinkish red color. Hondas can use a blue colored coolant. Brake fluid for the most part will be fairly clear. Power steering fluid can be yellow to a goldenish color or red. Not shown here is windshield washer fluid, which generally is blue. Rain-X does have a washer fluid that is good to minus 25 degrees, and it is orange in color. Okay, so now we know what the colors of the fluids should look like. So before I really get started here, I just wanted to show you, being I'm going to be underneath the hood for a while, I'm not going to use the standard hood prop here. I'd like to get a little more height here if I could, so I don't hit my head quite so often. I'm using the new VIAG 2200 model. The original version, the VIAG 2000, comes in blue, but this newer model comes in a very stylish red and does give us an extra couple inches, and who wouldn't want that, right? So there you go. So let's get started by checking the engine oil. Okay, we're ready to remove the dipstick here out of this motor, but safety first here at Clackamas Community College. We want to make sure we are well protected. We're also going to want to protect the car area around here as well as we're removing this dipstick. You'll need an adapter kit shown here to go from your engine hoist to your particular dipstick. I got mine in a complete set off the Home Shopping Network the other day. They were selling them for $15. I went for the 3-month equal pay plan of $6 a month. That's going to work out pretty good for me. Let's get started. Whoa, 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 that's pretty good right there. Wow, that is great. Look at that. That is fantastic. Let's take a look. We'll remove this adapter here. Take a look at that's a nice golden brown color there. That's okay. We like to wipe that off. Stick that back down in here till it goes click. Pull it out. Let's take another look. See if we're in between the two little holes there in the dipstick. And we're good to go. Okay, now that we've got the engine oil checked, let's check the brake fluid. It's in a reservoir over here, generally in this area of the engine compartment. And generally, most of the time, they're in plastic reservoirs nowadays. And we can just take the cap off. I have a moisture detector tool here to measure the amount of moisture that's actually in the brake fluid. We don't want moisture in the brake fluid. So I just hit my little button here and stick it into the brake fluid, pull it out, and the fluid is fairly clear, so that's good, but it does show a moisture content of 1%. So that's kind of borderline. The more moisture that we have in the brake fluid, the lower the boiling point of the brake fluid's threshold is. And we don't want the brake fluid to boil. It creates bubbles in the brake system in the calipers where the brakes are housed. And that can give you a real spongy pedal to actually no pedal. So we want to make sure that we change our brake fluid at the appropriate times. Check your owner's manual for the recommendations on that. If you need to top any brake fluid off, for the most part, they have they'll tell you here on top of the cap, it'll indicate .3 or .4 or whatever your particular vehicle takes. So you can take a look right on the top of the cap. Some of these reservoirs are hard to see, but on the side there might be a fill or a minimum or a maximum line on the plastic portion of the reservoir. You can check and see if it's low that way too. Okay, let's move on. Okay, if you've got power steering and it's not electric, it's hydraulic, here's the reservoir for this particular vehicle is right here. Check your owner's manual, it'll show you where yours is at, and we can check it. Whoa, there's no dipstick there. On this particular one, there's a plastic reservoir right here, as you can see, and there's a lower and an upper. Sometimes they say add and fill. That's how that works, okay? Conveniently, right next to the power steering fluid reservoir is the washer fluid reservoir. Here it is right here. Got a picture of a windshield here and a windshield washer squirting fluid onto the windshield. Whoa, look! It's just a dipstick. It kind of shows you how full the fluid is in the reservoir. They're generally plastic, and I don't really worry about the dipstick portion. I just usually fill it up until I see it coming up here near the top of the reservoir, and that works just fine for me. Okay, it's time to check the automatic transmission fluid level in this vehicle. And I'm lucky on this vehicle, I don't have to have it running, so I don't have to worry about electric fans kicking on or anything like that. Makes it a little safer for me. If you have a manual transmission, sometimes there's a plug on the side of the transmission that you remove to actually check the fluid level. Other vehicles that have automatic transmissions, you may have to have it running and you pull out the dipstick, wipe it off, put it back down in the tube, pull it out and look at it. Very similar to checking engine oil. Of course, we have the engine off when we're checking engine oil. Some automatic transmissions don't even have a dipstick, and it requires different procedures to check the fluid level in those. But on this one, I have it off, and they say the handle for the automatic transmission fluid dipstick is yellow. So I'm going to check. Here it is. Yep, it's yellow. I pull it out, and now I can check the fluid, and it's a nice pinkish hue. Okay. Normally I would just wipe it off. Go ahead and put it back down in here. Pull it back out. Now we can get an accurate level on there. And there we go. I'm just in good shape there. I'm just in between the two little holes that are in the dipstick there. Okay. So that's how we check the automatic transmission fluid in this particular vehicle, and most vehicles are fairly similar, so it's easy to do. Okay, we're going to check the cooling system. We're checking it last because I'm giving the cooling system a chance to cool down a little bit. I don't want to be taking the radiator cap off while this system is hot. It could be under pressure, and if I remove it and it's under pressure, I could get scalded, and I don't want that. And I do want to get into the coolant here today to check the freezing point. A lot of systems will have an overflow reservoir off to the side of the radiator where you can add fluid if you needed to. You can take a look and see if the level is full or if you need to add any. There's usually a line or two on there to let you know if you need to top it off. If you really need to get into the cooling system and it's still warm and you're not sure if there's a lot of pressure in there, squeeze the upper radiator hose. If you can easily squeeze the upper radiator hose, you can pretty much assure yourself that there's not a lot of pressure in that cooling system and you'll be fine. You can always have a rag here available, put it over top of the cap when you remove the cap, and that'll help you keep it from spilling all over the place. So what I want to do is take this cap off. I squeeze the upper radiator hose. No pressure there, so I know I'm good. Take the cap off. I'm going to use one of these coolant testers. You can get these at any local auto parts store. They're fantastic for checking freezing points. So I'm going to remove some of the coolant into this sight glass here, if you will. Okay. And it helps to put a light behind it. And now I can read that it's reading -10. So the freezing point of the coolant in this system is -10. That's fine. That's good. Usually you're at a 50% mix of coolant and water gets you around -30, -35 or so. So this is good. And I'll go ahead and reinsert this back into the radiator. Now I know I'm good for the winter. And reinstall the cap. And there we go. That's how we check the cooling system. That's how we check all the rest of the fluids. So we've done our job today. Okay, that's how we check fluids. It's not too difficult. Give it a try. I know you can do it. Use your owner's manual as your guide. This manual will let you know the type of fluid that goes in the systems and where and how to check them. If you're interested in a career in the automotive industry, check us out here at Clackamas Community College. Check our class lineups out at clackamas.edu. I invite you up to our campus here in Oregon City. We'll give you a tour of the shop, let you know what we have to offer. It's been completely remodeled. It's fantastic. Thanks for watching. Till I see you again, take care now. Thank you.